Hi dear colleague, and welcome to this new video. In this video I would like to talk to you about my daily workflow. In the previous video that I uploaded, I showed you an entire composite quadrant in full speed. So it was quite a long video where you could see all aspects of the treatment. In this video, however, I would like to highlight a small part of the treatment, which is the preparation and the polishing phase. Let's get started. Let me first tell you a little bit about this case. This patient has a lot of posterior tooth wear, some broken composite restorations, and we decided to do a freehand restoration of the wear. So what you will see in this case is that I will do a slightly increase in the vertical dimension of occlusion. This is only a small part of the treatment because I also treated all other quadrants and the anterior teeth. Of course, the first step in each case is isolation. So in this case, I used a Isodam heavy non-latex rubber dam with the Karma Golden Modified 12A clamp, which you can see here on the photo. After the isolation, we start with the preparation. And let me tell you a little bit more about the Burs. About a year ago, I was approached by Microcopy. Microcopy is a manufacturer of dental Burs, and you know, honestly, I'd never heard of them. They approached me, they told me a little bit more about their concept, about their vision in dentistry, and they asked me whether I was interested to test their Burs. So, of course, I'm always keen on testing new products, and I said yes, tell me more and maybe I can try some of your Burs. So they sent me over a couple of Burs, and you know, all these Burs come in these really nice packages. And they come in these containers where all Burs are in these strips of Burs. And you know what the best part is? These Burs, they are pre-sterilized, which means that every time you take a new Bur, it's a sterile Bur. And what I like about that is that that's a really good indication or a really good purpose when we are doing endodontic treatments or surgical treatments. What I really like is that when I take a new Bur out of this package, it's always a brand new one. And a brand new one means that it's super efficient and cuts really well. And that's also what you can see on this video. In my first initial preparation, I always like to use a cylindrical diamond Bur. I like these because these are usually a little bit longer, and since they are longer, for me it's easier to work with them to remove the top part of the composite but also the deeper part of the composite restorations. When I use a round Bur, which I also like, I often find that I find it quite difficult to make a nice preparation into the box, remove some of the remnants of composite deep down in the box. So that's why I always choose a cylindrical Bur at first. You see in this case that I spent quite some time on removing the old composite, but you know, I always try to be minimal invasive. Of course, I'm redoing this case, I'm removing all of the old composite, but I don't want to get that much damage or a new preparation to the teeth that have already been treated quite extensively. So my next step in this phase is to get a carbide Bur. I really like carbide Burs because they are really efficient in removing decay and they are really efficient in removing old composite. And that's also what I use this carbide Bur for, because I just, with a low RPM, around 4,000 to 6,000, I just gently went over the composite and try to remove them without damaging any sound dentin and any sound enamel. In the meantime, my assistant is constantly applying a little bit of water to make sure that we still cool all the teeth and the Burs. But I really like this, and you can see it at a higher magnification. I really like this Burs to remove all the remnants of the composite. After all the composite is removed, I have my rough preparation. The composite is gone, but there are still some rough edges and we need to make sure that they are all really smooth. In those cases, I like to use a longer, more flame-shaped burr to get in between the teeth, to remove any sharp edges. And after that, I get more like a round burr, like a rugby ball, and I use that to make sure that all the transitions, also towards the occlusal surface, are really, really smooth. The reason that I use burrs to bevel the enamel and to make sure that all the edges are really smooth is that by doing it like that, I will get a better adaptation of my matrix. And it is really, really hard to remove any excess of composite or bonding after the procedure. Well, that's already the preparation phase, and I always like to clean my teeth with some aerobrasion. So in this case, I use the AquaCare by Velopax with 29 micron aluminum oxide. And then it's time to start the restorative procedure. Well, I already told you that in this case, in this video, I will only focus on the preparation and polishing part. So I will skip the restorative phase for now, and that will be in the next video. We now fast forward to the end result, and as you can see, the teeth are restored, you can see the characterization of the tints, and now it's time to remove the excess of the composite. I work in really small bits of composite, and there's usually not that lot of excess material, but still there's always some remnants of bonding. So what I did, I like to use a long diamond burr to remove the excess of the buccal, of the lingual, and also to make sure that my transition from mesial, from my new marginal ridge, towards the buccal and the lingual is super, super smooth. Once I've done that, I get a smaller, more pointy diamond burr to make sure that I can polish my marginal ridges. During the restoration phase, I already try to make the marginal ridge go inward, make sure that it's really, really round, but still we often have a little bit of spikes of some composite, some remnants of bonding, and with this burr, which is quite short, I can easily remove these excesses, so that's a really nice one. After that, I get a carbide burr again. Microcopy has these really nice gold carbide burrs, which are finishers. They're really well for removing any excess that you might have on the occlusal surface. So that's what I also like to use it for. My finishing is nearly done, and the only thing I need to do is to make sure that I polish the composite really, really well. Well, for those, I always use the Eve polishers. This is the Diacom Plus Twist. It's a purple one, and it's like a beige gray one, which I really like to use to get a really good shine on the composite restoration. And once I've done that, I'll also check the contact points to see whether everything is smooth over there, if I have any excess of bonding or anything. So what I really like to use some diamond coated polishing strips. I really like to use a fine one, it's the red one, to make sure that everything is really smooth, and I always check with a floss to see whether it stays in contact or may fray a little bit. Once it frays, I know I need to go back in and polish a little bit more. Well, after that, the entire treatment is done and I remove the rubber dam. In a normal case, I would check the occlusion, make some small corrections, and again do my polishing with the Eve polishers. In this case, I approach it a little bit differently because I also had to treat the other quadrants. So my occlusal adjustments were at the end of the entire sequence of treatments. This was this video for now. I hope you learned a bit more about my daily workflow, about the burrs that I use, why I use them, what I like about them. And in the next video, I will talk to you about the restorative phase, about how I layer my composite, what kind of sequence do I use. So hopefully I see you in the next video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye!